just getting older, unlike most of you. But whenever it is time for me to come to the pulpit and to share, I just get this feeling of dread. And I tend to understand, I believe, that that is what happened to the prophets, especially in the Old Testament, why none of them wanted to work. You realize God had to twist the arm. On the first call, all of them take off. They don't want to work. One, I guess, because the prophets tended to have short lives, because the status quo didn't appreciate their message. But they themselves feared speaking in God's name a word that was not God's word, and they didn't want to do it. But I am here, and by the grace of God, I hope that it will be His words. If I were to title this message, we could put a title here. I call it The Twilight Zone. And we are going to be looking at John, the Gospel of John, from chapter 1, a few verses there. John wrote his account from a different perspective from the other Gospel accounts that we know, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They call those the synoptic Gospels because they tended to have the same perspective. They shared Jesus' life from he was a kid, before he was born, and come up. John took a very different approach to the matter, and his treatise is more intended to teach. His motive is disclosed in John 20, verses 30 and 31. It's good to see his motive. He said, Jesus did many other miraculous things or signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. So he declares, this is why I write this thing. This is why I've included these things. This is why I've written it in this way, so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, and by believing you may have life in his name. The light persists. Despite the darkness, the light is not going away. Christ, the true light, came, and there are believers. The scriptures refer to them here as born of God. Greek word is genao. The genao exists. Those people cannot be bought. They cannot be enticed. They cannot be frightened. They cannot be distracted. They're just not into the world system at all. For those people, the world has to kill them. And it can't kill them unless the Lord allows them. So sometimes they can't do them anything. Oh, isn't that nice? So the light persists. Some of you know me right inside here listening to me. The light persists. And the darkness is laboring to snuff it out. But the true light, Jesus Christ, won't allow that. The light will never go away, because they have been born of God. And so we have in our text the true light, which enlightens all men, which has come into the world. It has come, as one translation would put it, has come from a different place. So this light which enlightens all men and has come into the world has really come into the world from a different place. First two verses of our chapter, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. It is this light which has come into the world from somewhere else. The world in bad shape, you know. You need me to tell you that? I don't think so. In bad shape. Men professing themselves to be wise have become fools. And they don't even know it. They just become fools. They have designed their own way, which again is not new. This goes back as far as Babel. Let us make a name for ourselves by building this tower. So it's not a new thing. It was new in the Old Testament, and it was new in the New Testament. It is even older in our time, but it is still there. Same thing. Men professing themselves to be wise have become fools. They want to do what they want to do. God won't sign on to it. And so they make their own gods. In their own image. Yes, I don't know. So, we go back to our passage, John 1. We end in verse 13. Wonderful, wonderful place. Verse 12. Yet, all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right or liberty to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, but born of God. You see this thing? Born of God. That's what I'm going to leave us with today. Nice Greek word, genau. It addresses a child born of his father. That is one. Father. And so when they're talking about born of God, this is what this term is talking about. It is saying to you that whether you were born under whatever circumstances, whatever your upbringing, whatever your present condition, born of God transforms all that. Hallelujah! God, new thingness, genau, you are begotten of God. And so, these same people who we were just talking about, the apostles, these same guys who couldn't grasp what Jesus was about, they couldn't understand. Doubtless they thought they did, but events proved that they didn't. They deserted him in Gethsemane. When he died and rose again, they went back to their, I go back fishing and I go back to this. And we had hoped that he would have been the deliverer of Israel. All those things on the Emmaus Road. All these people, all this time, all this effort and labor. And in John 20 verse 19, we see at the end, well, I don't know. Anyway, we need to look at these things so we can learn from them. In John 20, verse 19, Jesus has been crucified, buried, resurrected. Mary Magdalene, in verse 18, went to the disciples with the news, I have seen the Lord. And she told them that he had said these things to her. Some things, you can read those. So Jesus is alive. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jews. Does that strike me out? They're locked up in some room somewhere afraid of the Jew them. These same guys, these same people, locked away for fear of the Jews. After Pentecost, they had no fear. Something happened. Something happened. Yeah, something happened. So these same people who fled from the events of the crucifixion and who were discouraged were now empowered and emboldened by the crucifixion and the resurrection because the Holy Spirit took them. This is what Genau means now. They understood now their heritage in God. We're not afraid of nobody. We're not little men trying to defend anything. We are God's people. And so, we're not afraid of it. We're not afraid. Because not God. So, those, as the scriptures tells us in John 1, those who believe, yes, the light came into the world, and most people didn't recognize him, did not acknowledge him for who he declared himself to be. Yet to all who believed, they became children of God. Genau, born of God. Where it didn't matter where you were coming from now, or what your gender was, or your ethnicity, or your skin color, or your money. None of those things mattered anymore. You believe in Jesus. You're born of God. That's where everything starts. So, neither slave nor free, Jew nor Gentile, none of those things matter. Lord of Christ. Lord of Christ. Now, curiously, I'm going to finish now just by mentioning something which I've often referred to in the Old Testament. It's something which has struck me for many years now. In Exodus, that's New Testament. In Exodus 30, verse 15, I believe it is. Right. They are talking about this atonement. Now, the Day of Atonement, as you may know, is the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Is to offer a half shekel to the Lord. All who cross over, when you're counted and cross over. All who cross over, those 20 years old or more, are to give an offering to the Lord. The rich are not to give more than half a shekel, and the poor are not to give less when you make the offering to the Lord to atone for your lives. This foreshadowed Christ working. One price for everybody. You don't miss how much money you have. Half a shekel. That is what I require of you. You could be a zillionaire. And we set the price because we're making a point. The poorest of you can afford half a shekel. You don't come here with no big check or money bags and drop in. You put your half shekel in the door. You're all one price paid for everybody. And this is Old Testament. So when Christ comes and sheds his blood for you all, this is what John is talking about. Yeah. Whoever believe, just that, believe in Jesus and the shed blood. You see, some of you were so and all kinds of things before. You know, you're born again. So all them things there, no matter, don't take them, put them on your head, and don't make anybody take them and judge you. Fight upon that. God says, you are mine. You know, this is what you want. You may have born and grown up as a holy man. Never sinned in your life. That wasn't my case. But the same price was paid for me. Amen, brother and sister.